I've heard multiple speakers up here today and their speeches with "in our lifetime" or "within our lifetime Palestine will be free." And I believe that this is one of the most important contributions that we have made to the Palestinian liberation struggle here in the U.S., here in New York. The idea that a free Palestine is not something that's just a distant future. The idea that fighting for Palestine doesn't happen just because we look at what's happening back home and it makes us sad. But rather, it is our responsibility and our duty to fight for Palestine with everything we have from wherever that we may be.
I'm with it. I'm with it, yeah.
And that it is on us to make this happen as soon as possible. To make this happen immediately. Because Palestinians are suffering right now. Palestinians have been suffering since prior to the existence of the Zionist settler colonial genocidal entity. Prior to 1948 even. Prior to its existence.
Yes.
When we look at what is happening in Al-Aqsa, we must keep in mind that this is not just isolated to Al-Aqsa and that this is not just something new. It's not just something that they do every Ramadan. It's something that they do year-round, year after year. So of course it's going to happen in Ramadan because it's constantly happening.
Exactly.
So when we say that Al-Aqsa is a red line, we also must make it clear that Gaza is a red line. And the West Bank is a red line. And Akka and Haifa and Yafa that was taken from us has been and will always be a red line. Every single inch of Palestine is a red line. Every single inch. And we salute those at Al-Aqsa who are defending it with their lives, who are giving up their lives day in and day out to keep this struggle going, to keep the Palestinian revolution pushing forward. And so us standing here is not the most we can do. It is the least we can do. It is the absolute least to let the people in this country know that they are funding the Zionist entity to the tune of $3 billion a year. $10 million every single day goes to the Israeli army from our tax dollars. And this ends up as bullets in the chests of Palestinian children. It is on us to make this clear. And us making this clear is the very least that we can do for Palestine. There is always more. The genocide of the Palestinian people is ongoing, and it's a red line. Whenever Gaza is bombed, it's a red line. Whenever we see a mother, like Ibrahim Nabulsi's mother, burying one of her children, it's a red line. So when you stand here today, don't isolate it only to when Al-Aqsa is attacked. Don't wait for another bombardment
cameraman.
We make it clear today on Al-Quds Day, just as we have in years past and moving forward, that in order to commit yourself to Palestinian liberation and Palestinian freedom, that absolutely means you must commit yourself to abolishing Israel, abolishing the settler Zionist state,
That's right.
and commit yourself to fighting U.S. imperialism from within the belly of the beast. We have power here. We have a voice here in New York City, and we shouldn't let it go to waste. This is our test. And for all the Muslims in the crowd or anybody who believes in this thing, this is our test from Allah. And for everyone in the world, when they look at the past and say they would have been against apartheid in South Africa, they would have been against slavery, they would have been against colonialism in all these different places, where are you now? Because we're seeing these things still happen to this day. It's not something that you get to say, oh, I would have been against that in the past. Where are you now? This is our test. It is not justice to ignore oppression happening in the streets and pretend that we're just going to do our own thing and pray to the weak and forget about what's happening in Palestine. That's not what Allah put us on this earth to do. Allah put us on this earth to defeat injustice, to fight oppression. That is what Islam is truly about. So while we fast in this holy month of Ramadan, understand that in order to be a Muslim, to be a freedom-loving and justice-loving person, we must fight oppression constantly, not just when we see Palestinians gunned down on our social media. We don't want to have you guys to see, we don't want people to have to see Palestinians in body bags and posting their bodies, dead bodies on Instagram to make people feel. We have to do this every day because this is what's going to keep happening as long as Israel exists. And I know I said it many times, and this is the last time I'll say it, just to put it through our heads. Yes, Israel does not have a right to exist. It was built on the dispossession of our grandparents. It came from their mouths themselves. Just the other day was the commemoration of the Deir Yassin massacre, in which many Palestinians were murdered in cold blood, women were raped, children killed. And you just saw a small snippet of something like that in the film Farha that they wanted to silence. But it was the Zionists themselves who said that if it were not for the massacre at Deir Yassin, there would be no Israel. And that's the truth. If our